Okay, so this is the start of the eyebrows. This is how it started and this is how it's going. So like I pushed it even more. My name is Tara Reed. I'm a tech entrepreneur, but even though I'm a businesswoman, I've always loved fashion and art. I have a podcast called Bossy where I wear really fun outfits and talk about business, but I've always loved a fun outfit throughout my whole life. Fashion has always been a tool for me to step into my boldness, to take that voice that's always in the back of my head saying, don't do that, it's too much, people aren't gonna like what you do, and to really quiet that voice and step into me just being my authentic self. Fashion's been a practice for me to really lean into that and be me. So we're gonna go back and look at some of those cool fits. So let's look at the first one. This is a picture of me as a little kid being really grumpy on a family ski trip. This is me. I like this outfit. It's definitely giving like early 90s extravagance. And I really loved it. Like my parents really let me dress the way that I wanted to as a kid. And I had this like, do you guys remember that cartoon Pippi Longstocking? Like she would like wear these pigtails. She like lived by herself. She was like grown and she would like wear mismatched socks. And like Pippi was my like first fashion icon. So my parents like let me wear mismatched socks and like all kinds of crazy stuff and apparently bright ski suits. So for me, fashion has always been this practice of like busting myself out of the box of social conformity. There's this quote that says that well-behaved women rarely make history. And I think that that whole practice of just like being yourself, being bold, not being scared to do that and to act up a little bit has been like a great spiritual practice for me in fashion. This is where I guess it started. Oh, okay. This outfit has a little bit of a backstory. So when I became an entrepreneur, I started to gain weight. I am a stress eater. So when I'm stressed and freaked the heck out, like I'm grabbing whatever snack I can find. Some of y'all have had this experience, you know what I'm talking about. And I gained a lot of weight in my entrepreneurship journey. And then I was like, okay, I wanna turn this around because around 2019, my business was doing really well. And I had this like bug, like I was bugged that I could now afford to wear cool designer clothes, but I couldn't fit any of them because so many of them only allow you to wear, like only sell certain sizes. And so not only did I really, after I lost weight, I lost 110 pounds, I had a gastric sleeve surgery that made my stomach smaller, and it really opened up the door and held the door open long enough for me to develop different habits. One of the like best things that I've ever done in my life. And I grew so much from that. And so one of the things that I played around with was not only wearing like big designer names when I was able to play with fashion more, but also more independent designers and really being able to support a lot of Black designers. This outfit is from a brand called Ofer. I've really been inspired by like a lot of people that I've seen like Erykah Badu and Bozoma St. John who have really been intentional about wearing Black designers on their productions, on their shows, on things that they do out into the public. I don't exclusively wear Black designers, but I really try to buy and support from them as much as I can. And so this is one of my really favorite Afrocentric outfits that I've worn on the podcast. Can I hand this back to you? Aha. This is ridiculous. Okay, this is a wild outfit. I think sometimes like fashion doesn't have to be so serious. Sometimes you can tell a joke and be humorous through your outfit. And like this outfit is it's very drag, it's very campy. Camp is like an exaggerated way to showcase something. It's almost like highlighting the poor taste of it all. Right? So this is like a very exaggerated, campy outfit. This is definitely, I use like drag and RuPaul's Drag Race, my favorite, as a reference point and as an inspiration for my outfits. I saw the boots on Pinterest first and I thought that they were so dumb. Like usually when I'm landing into a good camp outfit, my first thought is like a giggle and like that is so dumb. That's when I like know I'm on to like something really funny. I then later on after I wore this, I posted it on my Instagram. I asked my audience like what they thought this outfit should be called. Someone said brown cow stunning, which is a really funny RuPaul's Drag Race reference. Brown cow stunning. It's really fun to like tell a joke through fashion and not be so serious all the time.
So what's something that people underestimate about having a strong sense of style in the business world?
I think so much of business, particularly entrepreneurship, but not even that. Like even if you work at a company and you're an employee at a company, like so much of it is bringing your ideas to the table. And like sometimes you gotta like be bold about your ideas. Sometimes you have to fight a little bit for your ideas and be expressive of what those ideas are. And I think if you're in the practice of like squashing your expression regularly, not saying the thing, not speaking up, being too afraid to be bold, I think it ends up showing up all over your life, right? Like boldness, whether it's in dress or at work or whatever the practice is, setting boundaries with people, like I think it shows up in all areas of your life. So I think that sometimes people think fashion is just about like just fashion. For me, I certainly don't think about it that way. Like fashion is my practice of being bold all across my life. And for me, it's just like one easy area that I can play with where the effects kind of trickle out all over. So I think a lot of people underestimate how much the trickle out effect is from picking an area of your life. It could be fashion or it could be something else where you're intentionally bold in that area. I think it shows up everywhere. This is also a very camp outfit, so like we have a theme going here. I'm wearing a dress covered in teddy bears with teddy bear earrings, and then I have like a hair scrunchie where I've put teddy bears on them as well. So very camp, very like tacky, but actually kind of cute. The podcast that I host is produced by a company called Morning Brew. There are some ways that Morning Brew can be a little white bro-y, and so I always wonder, like, do they know that they have like a campy drag show with bear outfits? But like that's totally what I'm doing on the show. It's totally my form of drag. Technically it's called hyper queening when you are the same gender and you're just like an exaggerated version. I'm a woman, exaggerated version of a woman as I identify as. But it's really fun to kind of be this like over the top, really fun, put humor into an outfit. A lot of times women in business get this advice that they have to be like really serious and look like a man and wear a suit and like be this kind of way in order to get someone to take you seriously. My mother often balks at my outfits and says like, don't you want them to take you seriously? You should wear a suit. You should wear black and white. You should wear something simple. At this stage of my life, I get a lot more joy from being self-expressed than from being conforming. And so I really love the joy that I get of just like a wild, crazy bear outfit. This outfit came from a brand called Akira. It came like this with all of the bears, and then I bought some extra bears on Amazon and like made the earrings and made a little scrunchie by like maybe even like gluing or clipping them on there. This is funny. Okay, so this is the start of the eyebrows. This is how it started and this is how it's going. So like I pushed it even more. Sometimes I will see something that someone else does in fashion and be like, ooh, that's really fun. I wanna try that. This is definitely one of those I wanna try that looks. These eyebrows I saw Cardi B do on the Like What music video, and she's got like an all rhinestone outfit with the matching rhinestone eyebrows. And when I saw that video, I literally like jumped up in my seat and I was like, ooh, I wanna try that. Before I went on stage with these eyebrows, I had to do a lot of work with myself because there was definitely this blaring voice of like, oh my gosh, this is too much. You're gonna look too weird. People are gonna think it's really crazy. And a lot of the work that I do with fashion is like, all right, let's be crazy. Yeah, it's too much. Let's just be too much. And really that practice of allowing myself to be bold and be too much, like this is definitely an example where I was really worried about rocking these eyebrows. I thought I was gonna look like a naked mole rat. Maybe you think I do, but like it's fashion. So, you know, the whole practice of being like, I'm gonna do it anyway, has been really fun for me.
What advice do you have for someone trying to find their own fashion sense? They want to make a statement like you do, but don't really know what their signature style is.
Oh, that's good. Okay, I think the first thing would be stop looking for a signature style, like it doesn't exist. I think about clothing more as like an expression of how you feel that day. So one of the things that I do in the morning is like I get out of the bed and I think about, sometimes I do it while I'm still in the bed. I think about like, what do I feel like today? Maybe it might be an emotion, or it could be like, what thing in my closet like did I think of immediately? I'm not thinking about practicality. I'm not thinking about like, oh, I have to do this particular thing. Like I'm intentionally for a moment just thinking about what matches my expression of how I feel today. And then I'll go straight to that thing. And then the second part of that is like, for most of us, after you find the thing that would make you feel expressed, there's a voice that'll be like, no, don't wear that. Here's why you shouldn't. It's like the logical voice trying to police you. And for me, I have this practice of like continuously just doing the opposite of whatever they said. Like if they're like, no, that's too much, I'm like, okay, let's be too much today. Today, the outfit is too much intentionally. And that is really like, as I've done that over the years, it's quieted down that voice. So I almost like can barely hear it now. Oh, okay. So much of my life, I have felt like weird and out of place and like I don't fit. I found myself one day, I was talking to my friends about this, of like, oh, I feel like I'm different, I feel like I don't fit in. I kind of like, I could step out of my own body and like hear myself and see kind of how I was complaining about this. And I was like, what if I could just like lean into that? Like, what if I am an alien? And so I've been playing around with like, what if I was an alien, what would I wear kind of outfits. This is definitely one of them. This is probably the first time actually ever that I did a like, what if I was an alien, what would I wear? So sometimes what I do with fashion is like, I take something that's a limiting belief or a concern that I have about myself or whatever it is, and I lean into that or lean out of that, really as like a way to play with like my own understanding of my own identity. Also, I think the outfit that I have on today is like in that same family of like, what if I was this intergalactic space princess? Like, what would I wear? That's the story behind this one.
What's the most memorable reaction you've ever had to one of your more wild outfits?
Oh man. I definitely think that wearing bold outfits, it helps me connect with people. I am naturally an introvert. So like, for example, when I go to a conference, I intentionally wear a bold outfit because it has people come to me as opposed to me having to come to them. So like, even if it's a small compliment, like, oh, I like your shirt, oh, your earrings are cool, it starts the conversation and had the person do it for me. So those are kind of like little comments that people say. But for me as an introvert doing business, it actually makes it easier for me to kind of operate because people will start the conversation with me, whether that's on Zoom or like at an event or a conference. Okay, this is one of the first episodes that we did on the show. Also, this is like, I have a storyline that I was planning through this. I was like thinking about Afrofuturism, my Wakanda forever kind of cyberpunk, Afro-cyberpunk kind of experience. I have like Bantu knots on my head, which is a really classic Afrocentric hairstyle. And then I've kind of got like a spacey, kind of techie, cyberpunk kind of outfit that I'm wearing as well. So again, kind of in my Afrocentrism is another theme of things that I play with in my fashion. A lot of times in business, we are taught that like you have to be wearing like a suit, you have to be wearing black or like a muted color, and everything kind of has to be like matching what everybody else is doing. And I actually think that like some of the most powerful business people that I've encountered, they actually express themselves. They've got a cool style, they've got a cool swag, not just in how they dress, but how they pitch a meeting or pitch an idea or like show up at work. And so I think that like there's this contrast, and I like to show up with this contrast on the show on my podcast called Bossy, is like, here's how people think I should show up, and here's how I actually want to show up. And people get really angry in the comments. Like when we post things, sometimes we'll post and there'll be a bunch of men, it's usually men, in the comments, like really angry, like, how am I supposed to listen to business advice when she's wearing that? As if those things are correlated. But I think that it's really important to show that there can be both. There can be self-expression and you can be really credible in business. Those things can go hand in hand. In fact, typically the people who are most self-expressed are the most successful in business because they put their ideas out there and they land them. Where are you in this journey? I'd love to hear in the comments.